Isekai is a subgenre of power fantasy. I mean, power fantasy as is. It's already a subgenre of fantasy, but it's a subgenre of fantasy where the main character is transported to another world. Now, usually, the Isekai has the most generic protagonist to make it easier to immerse yourself into the story, and added the fact that power fantasy series are known as the junk food of anime. You know that there are not many good protagonists, but the fact they're not that good, but the fact that they're accessible and easy for you to immerse yourself. Power fantasy series are not the most complex in terms of writing. There are series that subvert that expectation and tries to create something interesting. And so this top 5 is about my top 5 isekai protagonists of all time that ultimately drove me to this isekai rabbit hole. With that being said, this top 5 is 100% opinionated. If you disagree or if there's someone I miss, please do let your own favorite isekai protagonist in the comment section below, and let's get this discussion going. Furthermore, if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. I do 2 videos weekly. The Infinite King Talks every Monday, where I do anime discussion top 5 and top 10 over at the podcast tab of my YouTube channel, and Infinite King Plays every Friday, where I play different games and Pokemon games. Currently, I am playing through Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and of course, when it comes to playthrough as well, I can be more open with my own opinion as well. So it's gonna be a kind of off the pill kind of discussion, anime discussion kind of thing for me as well. So without further ado, let's start with number 5. Let's start with a banger, with the more recent protagonist in this list, Shadow from Eminence in Shadow. Well, honestly, the world he reincarnated in, some people have said that it's a world created by him, but he's literally just a role player being isekai to another world. Like, everything he does, he role plays, and he gets lucky that things are happening his way. Oh my goodness, this guy is just a massive flexer. And you know me, as an Ascanor fan, as a Zoro fan, I respect the flexing. That's just why I love Sid Kageno in general. And the fact that he doesn't even care that his organization is made out of women. He has his own harem, like, just riding him, and oh my goodness. Everything about Sid, just being flexing on everyone else, and even flexing the fact that he has a harem. Oh my goodness. Everything about Sid. And that's why he's number 5 on my list. Without further ado, let's proceed into number 4. Number 4, I've rewatched Overlord about a dozen times, and I don't get tired of it. Like, Ainz, you get the idea for Ainz. Like, he struggles to be this overlord, but he has so many powerful abilities, powerful subordinates that he has to keep in check. And yet he struggles to keep up with all of this, and yet he just by accidentally work it out for some reason. So Ainz All Gone for me is just another flexer of a character, and how he evolved into this great ruler of a character as well. So that's essentially the story of Ainz All Gone. Everything from character design, from his character perspective, characters of his subordinates and his enemies, and even his allies as well. Everything about Ainz All Gone is just a breath of fresh air for me. And in the first time I said that I watched over, I was like enthralled and attracted to this series. Like, this is something I want to binge. So yeah, Isekai is the number 4 spot on this list. I should really start listing out why I like this character. So let's go to number 3, shall we? I just literally did a discussion video on Rimuru Tempest on the WebHub playlist of mine. So yes, Rimuru Tempest. What do I like about Rimuru Tempest? I mean, again, his personality, goated, because you know me, I love those kind of joyous, carefree character like Luffy. Reminds me of Luffy and Issei. Like Issei and Luffy with those carefree kind of happy-go-lucky character. I love this kind of characters in general because life can be a little bit depressing at times. Personality-wise, the carefree attitude of Rimuru and the fact that he's also known as the Chaos Creator by Demon Lord G. Crimson. I had to pronounce it properly. Like, yeah, I just like watching him adventure, goof around with his subordinates, with his friends. I like this guy is just fun. Like, he's fun to be around with. So I just vibe with Rimuru Tempest. In terms of personality, out of all of the characters in this list, Rimuru is that one character, one guy that you would vibe with in a bar or hang out with. Like, this guy is such a vibe and I love him for it. That's just me. And plus, he wears great drip. He's the great drip lord Rimuru Tempest. Without further ado, let's proceed into number 2 is Rudeus Grey Rat. Okay. For a typical Isekai protagonist, your typical Isekai protagonist is like that generic Isekai protagonist, generic OP protagonist that has a furniture for a personality, kind of bland, kind of protagonist, honestly. So, for Rudeus, unlike any other Isekai protagonist, like in smartphone Isekai, or in Kenja no Mago Isekai, they have like this bland kind of personality which put them in a very high pedestal, and they have very high nice kind of personality where they just help out everyone as well. So for Rudeus, he was not, for me, the reason why I love Rudeus is, well, personality wise he's crap. He's literally the trashiest character ever. He's a freaking pervert. He's a jerk ass. But the fact that he had to struggle through his past trauma, he didn't get reincarnated into another world with all this OP ability and freaking high moral grounded personality kind of life. He actually deals with a lot of his past trauma in his previous life, instead of being just gifted with everything in his life. He had to struggle to overcome his past trauma first before he proceeded in living his new life with, well, 3 girls. So yes, that's why I feel like I love Regis, like how he started in the beginning of his story where he has to overcome those traumas. For me, made him one of the most human Isekai protagonists, and why he's number 2 on my list. Let's proceed into number 1, the king himself, Kazuma Sato from Konosuba. Oh my goodness, I mean, what do I have to say with it? He's just an asshole. He's a troll, he's perverted, he doesn't hide, he knows who he is, and he knows that we'll love him for it. Like, honestly, Konosuba is definitely up there in my top 10 favorite Isekai of all time. Like, there's a reason, like, his dynamic with the other ladies in this group as well. Like, they're both can be asshole, they can joke around with each other, but at the end of the day, they're dynamic. He's dynamic with certain female character in general. Megumi is one of the most adorable, heart-wrenching kind of dynamic that I've seen in all of Isekai. So yes, he can be goof. He's a goof. All of them is a goof. And he can be an asshole, a jerk, any of that stuff. But overall, he's just the best kind of goof Isekai protagonist we can ask for. Yeah. That's a good explanation why he's number 1, right? Like, I just love, he's not even that overpowered, okay? He's not even that overpowered. He's just a really big goofball. Yes. And very funny character. my goodness. I rewatched Konosuba over and over again, and every time it literally just made me belly laugh. Like, oh my goodness, he is just a freaking jerk, and I love him for it. Yeah. That's my off the pill explanation of why I love Kazuma Sato. And plus, I worship his ideals. Gender equality. Oh my, this gender equality. I will slap a girl just like I will slap a guy if they deserve it. Like, gender has nothing to do with it. Without further ado, that will be my top 5 isekai protagonists of all time.